I'm the executrix of the estate for Lita Bay. They all rushed towards me. They all grabbed me. Then all of a sudden, somebody had their hands between my legs, brisket touching me, my breasts. They pushed me up against the car. They put cuffs on me in front of my children. I was screaming for help because I was terrified for my life.
All right, guys, today we've got a crowd, professional victim bog sovereign citizen. Like, at what point do these people realize the law actually applies to them? This lady is in court because she thought running a red light and resisting arrest while screaming at officers was a great idea, and now, of course, she's acting like she's the one being wronged. The delusion is off the charts with this one. I mean, she's making normal sovereign citizens look reasonable, which is saying a lot. Let's go ahead and dive in and watch this judge completely shut her down.
All right, Officer Maloche?
Good morning.
Good morning. All right, and Miss Bay, can you hear me?
Hello?
Miss Bay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I can hear you too. All right, this is 240P01688. This is the people versus Lita Bay. Officer Maloche, would you please state your name?
Yes, ma'am. First name Nathan, Nathan. Last Maloche, Mloche.
And Miss Bay, would you please state your name?
I'm the executrix of the estate for Lita Bay.
All right, we're here today for, looks like a ticket that was issued back on July 14th of 2024. All right, Officer Maloche, it's the government's burden, so you'll go first. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalties of perjury?
I do.
All right, so what can you tell me about the ticket that was issued on July 14th, 2024 to Lita Bay at Coolidge and Pearson in the city of Oak Park?
Yes, ma'am. The citation was issued due to Miss Bay disobeying the red light at actually Coolidge and North End. Once we got through that intersection, Miss Bay did come to a stop at Coolidge and Pearson, and then once that light cycled through, I initiated a traffic stop just north of Pearson, just south of Albany, on Coolidge there at about approximately 10:45 p.m. At that time, I went up to speak to Miss Bay. Initially, she refused. She did provide a license and eventually started speaking with me. Returned to my patrol vehicle, at which time she exited her vehicle, went to the rear of her vehicle, opened up her trunk. Went up to speak with her and escort her back to her seat in her car, at which point she started resisting. So my fellow officer and I took her to the front of my car, spoke with her, initially handcuffed for officer safety. We released her without charging her for the misdemeanor for resisting and obstructing, and we just went with the disobey red light. And actually, at minute 158 of my body cam, Miss Bay does admit to the infraction of disobeying the red light, stating she had to use that.
When you say resisting, what do you mean?
So initially, we went up to her, asked her to step away from the trunk. Obviously, we didn't know what was in there. She then began to retreat from officers. We then grabbed her arm to help escort her to her vehicle, at which point she tensed up, pulled away, and started screaming at us.
What do you mean by screaming? What did she say?
Am I able to reference my report I have here?
You may.
Okay. See, initially she said, her finger thing. She was
you're
nervous
breaking up. I
because
can't.
guns near. Oh, can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yep.
All I have here is that she kept screaming, "Help me!" Initially, when she was in her vehicle, she stated she didn't want to speak with us and that we were forcing her to say things against her will, and that she was nervous because we had our sidearms and we were near her children. Once she was resisting, all I have noted here is that she kept screaming, "Help me!" And that's all I've got in terms of that. I don't have access to my body camera footage at this time.
Why is that?
This is virtual court, so I don't have access to evidence.com. I don't have a work computer, so I don't Didn't know if it was appropriate to access mobily.
All right, and Miss Bay?
I'm the executrix for the I'm the executrix for the trust for.
Did you guys catch that? It's just so funny how these sovereign citizens can't even remember their own arguments. You can literally see her looking up, trying to recall her little magical script before she speaks. Like, if you're going to argue with a judge, at least memorize your nonsense first. And the wildest part? None con of what she's saying holds up in court. Supreme Court decisions have already shut down all this. I don't consent nonsense. But here's what really gets me. We're in sharing the roads. With these people, imagine getting into an accident with someone like this. They'd probably just drive off and claim the law doesn't apply to them. It's actually dangerous. Anyway, let's dive back in because this is about to get even crazier.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalties of perjury?
I do.
All right. What can you tell me about the ticket that was issued to you?
Your Honor, I actually put in paperwork and asked for discovery, and I was advised that I shouldn't testify until I get my discovery packet.
So this isn't a criminal case. It's a civil infraction. You were free to order under the Freedom of Information Act any information regarding this case prior to the hearing. So it's not like a criminal case. It's a different standard. It's just a preponderance. It's not beyond a reasonable doubt. But you most certainly would have had access to that if you just FOIA'd the report or the body cam in this case. But we are having the hearing today, and you're free to give me your side of the story if you so choose.
On the day in question, I went through a red light. I had to use the bathroom, like really desperately. I had 3 teenagers in a car with me. And when the officers approached my vehicle, touching their sidearms, my daughter had the identification, and I explained to them that this was a trust situation. And they didn't care. She was terrified, and she ended up taking out my ID because she did not want us to get killed or beat up or anything, because things have happened to family members. I didn't want to get tased. She didn't want us to get tased or beaten or killed. So she ended up taking out my ID because I did not have to identify. It was not a situation for identifying, but we were forced to because of the guns and stuff, and my children were terrified. My son's girlfriend was in the car. She was terrified. I told him it was a trust situation, and I told him I had to use the restroom, and because he said something about me going through the red light, which there was no traffic. The traffic light is to direct traffic. There was.
So running red lights is legal now? Since when? This sovereign citizen is living in a whole different reality. Traffic laws exist for a reason, and the fact that she admitted to running the light makes this even worse. And yes, if there's probable cause, you do have to. Show your license. It's not optional. This is just pure victim behavior, and honestly, it's exhausting. At some point, people need to take responsibility instead of acting like the law doesn't apply to them.
We had to go, and I was really trying to get to the destination because I have a medical condition that's life-threatening right now. So I explained it was a trust, and they went to the car, and I got out to get tissue out my car, which I have a receipt and a picture that I did have tissue in my car. I was going to use the bathroom on the side of a house or wherever because I was not going to expose myself to waste matter with my blood condition. They came up to me, and I was like, ma'am, what are you doing? They all rushed towards me. They all grabbed me. Then all of a sudden, somebody had their hands between my legs, brisket touching me, my breasts, searching me. They pushed me up against the car. They put cuffs on me in front of my children. They put me in the back of the car. I was screaming for help. They went up to the car and they were taunting my son in front of his girlfriend and his little sister who looks up to him. Like, I said, I just had to use the bathroom. I asked them nicely. I said, can you please just sit me on the ground? I do not want to waste inside of your car. I wasted myself in my car once I got in my car after they put me in the back of the car. So that's what happened on that day. And I asked the officers, how would you want your mother handled? I'm an older woman. And he did this in front of my children. I went to the temple earlier that day, a sacred and Hindu temple, and did sacred rituals. Wasn't nobody supposed to be touching me. And somebody just came up to me and was touching between my legs and my breast. And I don't know where they came from, and they were all surrounding me.
Anything else you want to say, Miss Bay?
I was screaming for help because I was terrified for my life. I was not guilty of anything, but needing to use the bathroom and not wanting to soil myself. I just wanted to get to my destination, which was off of Oneida and 9 Mile, which literally 2 minutes away. I did not make it.
Okay. All right, the court has heard the testimony from Officer Milosh and from Miss Bay. In this case, the standard is a preponderance of evidence. Mr. Milosh testified that he saw Miss Bay run the red light at Coolidge and North End. Miss Bay acknowledged running the red light in question in this case. The people's burden is satisfied beyond a preponderance of the evidence in this case. I'm finding Miss Bay responsible for running a red light. The fine is going to be $165. You'll have till October 1st to pay it. I will send that to the Novara address where we sent the other notices, so you'll get the paperwork in the mail. You're all set.
Excuse me, Your Honor. So what I'm asking you is, I have a question. You're telling me, is the court telling me that trust situations are not seen as trust, because this is a trust matter? This is not
All right,
what
so
you
Ms.
think
Bay,
it is.
there's no trust situation recognized by the court. You are responsible.
And just like that, boom, she vanished from Zoom. No argument, no farewell, just poof, gone. I'll admit, for a second, I almost bought into her sob story, but then she completely undermined herself, first by incriminating herself and then by diving headfirst into the sovereign citizen nonsense. Seriously, getting mad at the courts for giving you a ticket when you clearly broke the law is like robbing a bank and then acting shocked when the cops show up. What did she think was going to happen? Playing the victim might work in some places, but in a courtroom? Yeah, good luck with that. Judges don't care about your feelings. They care about facts. And the fact is, she ran a red light, resisted arrest, and then tried to act like the victim. Anyway, that's it for this one. Let me know what you guys thought. Did she have any chance, or was this doomed from the start? And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. I post every single day, so stay tuned for more.